Welcome, patient 13. I see one of the nurses has already taken your vitals and measured you and weighed you. It seems here that you're a little bit lighter than what we normally expect, but I think we can work with what we're going with. So you've signed up for the full transformation program. Good. We have a couple already on the go, but I'm sure we can squeeze you in, so to speak. So the program lasts about 6 months, during which time your only real focus will be to consume. And it will be done in a private room. You'll start off on a bed, but by the end of it you'll be quite comfortable on all fours. I'd ask that at the moment you just ignore any unusual sounds that you might hear in the corridors or in the room next door. It can be quite intimidating if you latch onto them too quickly. Soon they'll just become the noise of comfort. So your diet will primarily consist of large amounts of carbohydrates and fat. This will often be delivered in the form of a liquid, which will be guzzled down nearly constantly during waking hours. We operate quite an intensive program here, so it's around about 16 hours of feed with 8 hours of sleep. This can vary from day to day depending on your sleep patterns and also our nurses' schedules. Don't worry too much about feeling too full or anything like that. The machines will do most of the work for you. You just have to lie there and consume. In terms of other stimulus, of course we provide various forms of brainwashing and hypnosis programming. These will take place primarily through auditory influence, however some of the programs require visual stimulus. These again will be provided as and when necessary. Just follow the guidance of your particular handler. You may find that as things go on, you just allow everything to wash over you. It's probably easier that way. We've removed all reflective surfaces from your room, so you won't really see your progression beyond what you can see as you look down. One of the things I would kind of warn you about is it can be quite disturbing the first time you try and walk after the program, for you'll find it can be near impossible after the weight that you have gained in such a short amount of time. Again, before we actually start anything, you will be required to sign a contract where you agree to the near permanent damage that we're going to do to your body. Now, of course, you were fully aware of this when you signed up, but it is worth going over again. The amount of weight that you will put on in such a short amount of time will cause what is typically known as stretch marks, or more interestingly known as skin tearing. These will be permanent, especially considering how many of them you will have. Any attempt to lose the weight afterwards will result in considerable amounts of saggy and excess skin, which will likely require some form of cosmetic surgery to remove, leaving you, of course, with scars. Now, many of our patients and experimentees find this a reward for their actions rather than a punishment, and may decide that they wish to lose weight in order to see the effect that they've had, and then return to us after a few years carrying around that excess skin, asking us to re-inflate it, so to speak. I would advise against doing this, as it can be quite an exhausting process, and sometimes it's just easier to allow yourself to continue being the glutton that you have already signed up to be. The food that you will be provided with doesn't necessarily taste nice. We're not really focusing too much on the enjoyment of food here, more about the engorging of your already quite sizable waistline. Most diets in the farm here consist of large amounts of melted fat, including butter and lard, oats, and a high-carb slurry mixed with protein. This is also supplemented with regular nutrient packs and a checkup from one of our medical professionals on a regular basis. We like to avoid any complications with your health throughout the growth process. However, some side effects, such as shortness of breath, are to be expected and will be monitored. The program is quite intensive. Over the course of about 6 months, we anticipate, given your starting weight, that you should gain between 200 to 300 pounds. As I said, this is a very intensive program. Don't worry too much about being intimidated. Again, it's very much out of your hands once we strap you down. Speaking of which, if you are happy to continue, I'd invite you to sign these contracts and get comfortable on the bed behind you. Thank you. One of my nurses will now strap you in nice and tight. The feed tube that you'll be given will be strapped to your face. Again, this is just so that it doesn't fall out when you maybe drift off to sleep. We do have a system to prevent you falling asleep during the middle of a feed. This is just so that you don't drown, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. Again, we are exceedingly proficient at this process. So my only advice now would be to get comfortable, relax, and, get ready to become a pig. You'll see me again in a few weeks' time when I'll carry out a review of your progress, and we'll make any adjustments that we need to your diet. Sometimes these nutrient packs need a few customizations in order to ensure rapid onset of fat. Well, enjoy, and see you soon.